Hello my darlings, welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing a ZADR one-shot fanfiction. I've been searching for a longer fanfiction to do for a while. Recently I discovered a fanfiction I thought I was going to make a video on, but that one ended up being very inappropriate, and while most of my audience is old enough for that sort of content, I don't know, I just don't want to be reading smut every video. However, I did really like the fanfiction and I ended up reading the whole thing on my own time. But I really want to find something for you guys. I want something long that I can make into multiple parts and something that's of quality. But I figured that right now I should probably just find something nice to read, something shorter, because at least, you know, in the US, I think a lot of us could use a bit of just something happy right now, after the election. So, today I'll be reading Confessions by ZADR on Wattpad. As always, if you would like to read along with me, the link to the fanfiction will be in the description. Dib had to do it. He had to tell Zim how he felt. They've known each other for years, fighting, bickering, but eventually, when they got into high school, things were different. They've grown into friends, and Dib realized that Zim wasn't trying to destroy the Earth anymore. Zim would even talk about the things he enjoyed about the disgusting planet. It warmed Dib's heart in a weird way the first time Zim had told him what he liked about Earth. A lot of the things Zim did warmed the weird teen's heart. His stupid evil laugh, the way he went, eh? The way he acted. And then he realized, oh no. He had feelings for the stupid alien. It took a lot of time, but eventually Dib did accept the feelings towards Zim. Maybe it wasn't so bad, he would think to himself. Maybe he could possibly feel the same way. Dib sighed as he slicked back his cowlick. He was walking to Zim's place, mentally preparing himself for what he was going to say to the small alien. He really didn't care much if he was rejected. He just wanted to make Zim aware about how he felt. He held it inside for way too long. Dib slowly approached the base. He took a large breath in. You got this, Dib. You've gone through way scarier things. He exhaled the breath, knocking on the door. He stepped back as the door quickly flung open. Instead of the Urkin, it was a small robot dressed in a green doggy suit. Mary! He shouted happily. Did you come to see me? Yeah, sure, Gur, he answered. For the longest time, Dib didn't know Gur's name, but it didn't really matter because Gur still never got his right. He was used to being called Mary or big-headed boy. He wasn't sure where Mary came from. Also, his head isn't big. Gur gasped, jumping onto the couch so Dib could enter. Dib stepped into the base, closing the door. He noticed the Mini Moose floating next to the small robot and waved a bit. Hey, Mini Moose. Mini Moose neighed happily in response. So, Dib took off his coat that Zim was always making fun of and set it on the couch. Dib thought it was a bit silly too, especially since now he was 17. But it had a charm to it since it reminded him of his battles with his now close friend. It wasn't the same one, of course. That one was way too small for him now. Anyways, he just thought it was nice and fit his paranormal dorkiness to this day. Where is Zim? Gur stared at him with a blank expression for a bit. After a while, he finally replied, Oh, yeah! Master's downstairs doing work stuff. Dib wasn't sure what answer he expected. Zim usually spent a lot of time in his lair just doing weird experiments. Even though he had been on Earth for a long time, he still had no idea what half of the things on Earth were. Dib would make fun of Zim for it, but he would end up getting punched in the face. "Computer, bring me downstairs, please," Dib commanded. The computer sighed a bit, but then opened a passage. Dib stepped in and it closed, lowering him more and more into the base. He remembered when Zim changed the computer commands to allow Dib to go on to the other floors. He'd never thought the Urkin would do something like that, or even trust him that much. It felt nice, having Zim being his friend and trusting him. Yeah, the epic battles with Zim was cool and all, but just having a friend that trusts you and gets you is better. Dib finally reached his destination and stepped out of the elevator. Dib felt his palms get sweatier as his eyes landed on the small alien. It seemed he was working on one of his strange experiments. So, Dib thought right. "What do you want, Dib, human? I'm very busy." Zim didn't even turn to say this. He was focused on poking some blob thing. Dib only answered with a stutter. "Oh no. Oh no, Dib, don't start acting dumb already." Dib sighed, trying to calm himself down. He cleared his throat and sighed again, walking up to Zim. "I'm just gonna be honest." Zim finally turned to him, a raised eyebrow in confusion at this, and lifted his goggles. "Honest with what?" "Dib, if you stole another weapon from my base to study it again, I'm going to smack you." Dib huffed at the fact that Zim still held a grudge about that. "What? No, it's not that. Besides, I said I wasn't gonna do that again." He continued. "It's something more serious. Like, way more." The alien stared at him, still very confused. Something serious? He didn't ever expect Dib to talk about something serious. Though he was still expecting something dumb like, "I found evidence for the big feats," or something. What is it then?" he asked. Dib could feel his throat closing up. He swallowed. "Stay calm, Dib," he told himself. Well, I have a confession. It's about you. Well, us." This intrigued the small alien, so much so that he set down his tools and took off his goggles completely. He wouldn't do that for just anything. "Oh?" "Yeah," Dib groaned, covering his face with his hand, then continued. "I'm not gonna drag this out. I'm just gonna say how I feel and get this over with." Zim just raised an eyebrow at this. His arms were crossed, just waiting to see what the tall human would say. "Zim, I've been having these weird feelings for a while. I mostly thought it was because we were becoming closer friends, but I can't keep convincing myself that's the case." "Yeah?" Zim replied, uncrossing his arms. "What are the weird feelings then, human?" Zim didn't want to admit it, but he knew exactly what those feelings were. He only knew this because, in fact, he was feeling the same way about the Dib. At first, he thought he had gotten some weird human disease, but further research into the matter, it turns out it was love. Yes, that's what it was. Love. A disgusting word for a disgusting feeling. At least, that's what Zim was trying to convince himself. "I love you, Zim," Dib continued. The hand leaving his face long ago, it was replaced with tears welling up in the boy's eyes. Zim's eyes widened at the sight of Dib's tears. If this happened long ago, while they were still in elementary, Zim would have laughed at the sight. But that's not how it was now. He could feel his own tears form. "Stupid Dib Smelly," Zim muttered. Dib was sure he knew what would happen next. Zim would hate him and kick him out. They would never talk again. It scared him so much just thinking about it. That wasn't the case, though. Oh no, far from it. He saw a smile creep onto the Urkin's face. It took you long enough to say something. It was like time had froze for Dib. It felt like he stood there forever, but it was only a few seconds in reality. A smile formed on the boy's face too, the tears now pooling down his face and staining his shirt. He ran over to Zim and scooped him up, hugging him tightly. The alien immediately hugged back, laughing. Not an evil laugh, a genuine laugh. It warmed Dib up inside and made him feel even happier if possible. They sat there for a bit, just embracing each other. Zim decided to finally speak up after a bit, his voice quiet and hoarse from crying. "Hey, Dib." "Yeah?" he answered, opening his eyes to look at him. "Since, you confessed something, I might as well confess something too." Zim had hopped down from Dib's embrace. "Oh, Dib looked down at him in confusion, hesitating. What was he gonna confess? He was sure he knew everything about the alien. He did spend many years just watching and studying him, taking notes. Yeah, it was a bit creepy, but Dib is creepy. Dib was a creepy boy. He guessed maybe there was one thing he missed, 'cause Zim hid it for so long. A bit surprising to him, Zim wasn't very good at hiding stuff. "Yeah, sure, go ahead," he finally finished. Zim inhaled a bit. He was definitely nervous, and even Dib could tell. "Alright, just don't freak out." Dib nodded a little, very intrigued now. What could he possibly be hiding? Zim then looked away. He grabbed the skin on the top of his head, slowly pulling it off. Dib stared in shock. What the? A mask? Indeed, it was a mask. Zim threw the mask on the ground, revealing... Dib was still staring. No, it couldn't be. Zim was actually Sans from Undertale. He said in that weird Sans text sound effect. Dib couldn't stop staring. He couldn't believe it. This whole time, Zim was hiding such beauty from him. Sans from Undertale. You're beautiful. You didn't have to hide this from me because... Dib then pulled away the mask of his own, revealing he was Steve from Minecraft. I was not who I said I was either. Sans from Undertale covered his mouth in shock. He said again in that stupid sound effect that I have no idea how to type out or read out loud. Tears filled his eyes and he hugged Steve from Minecraft again. Truly, their love was very odd. Alien and human. Skeleton and human again, but blocky. Even though they weren't the same species, they still found love in each other, which is all that really matters. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Usually, when I read fanfictions, I read some of it, at least, before I start filming to see if it's worthy or if it's a fanfiction I'd like to share with you. And for this one, I only read up until the point where it was clear Zim had feelings for Dib as well. I 100% did not read the full thing before filming. And sometimes what happens when I do that is the ending is either non-existent because the author just doesn't want to write anymore, which wasn't the case with this one. It was just a one-shot, so I knew it had an ending, but I still didn't know what it was. And the journey you went on when you heard this was the same journey I had while reading it, word for word. But I'm truly grateful that this sort of beauty exists in the world, and this sort of literacy perfection exists, and I'm so honored to share that with you. I think the message is very telling for the times as well. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed. I genuinely do. I will probably have a real serious ZADR fanfiction out, I guess, in a month. I guess that's how long it takes me to read a fanfiction, apparently. And I'm really sorry for that. I guess my excuse is that I have school. But the real issue is I just can't find a good fanfiction. Obviously this one was perfection, but ideally I'd like to make, a series. I'd like to have multiple parts, not just a one shot, because you deserve you deserve an adventure, something to look forward to and stuff. Anywho, thank you so much for watching and making it to the end of the video. Don't forget to drink water and love yourselves, because I love you.